Let's start transforming terrain. This is lesson 6 of VASSL 101. The previous 2 episodes I showed you how to apply overlays using 2 different methods. One was the old built-in method and the other one was an extension that I showed you how to download. In this lesson we're going to do terrain transformations. Let's fire up VASSL and load the scenario of the Eastern Front that we've slowly been working on, and I'll show you how to do that. So just navigate to where you're saving. And if you're jumping into this episode and you haven't watched the previous episodes, you can either open up a map maybe that you've already been working on, or you can start with lesson 2. And I step you through each of these lessons using this scenario, the Eastern Gate. So here we are for half-board configuration. I've already put the overlays down in the previous 2 lessons. But if we look at the scenario sheet real quick, the scenario card, we see that it is a PTO scenario. So PTO terrain is in effect. So what we've got is light jungle isn't called out. So we've got dense jungle, palm trees, kunai, no roads, and swamps. I believe that will graphically show up. The kunai won't show up. The kunai will look the same as grain. But the other things that I mentioned, we can actually transform them on the board to make this look more like a PTO board than a bone stock board that we've got here. So let's get rid of all the roads, or not get rid of the roads. Get rid of some of the roads in open ground and orchards, but the stuff that runs through the jungle will be transformed into paths like these here. And all of the orchards will be transformed into palm tree graphics. And then there will be some swamps placed here and there. So to do that, we go up to our little trusty squad leader guy here again. Pick new boards like we've been doing. And again, you can do this when you first launch VASSL and are setting up a brand new board / game. It's the same menu build, same menu setup. So we want to click on terrain, special scenario rules. Let me drag that down. It always pops it up in the corner like that. Now you have, let me make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Yeah, go like that. So you can see the loaded boards that we have here behind us. Typically, what you want to do is you pick the month. I think, not that it really matters it's February for this scenario. It doesn't really matter for PTO because pretty much everything is in season, but I'll pick February just to show you what happens. So in a normal scenario, you pick February and it automatically checks things out of season. Mostly orchards, right? But for PTO, you don't really have to pick the month, but I just did it to show you. So let's turn out of season. Everything is in season, right? Now, there's various transformations here in this left menu. There's also a drop-down box that will do things kind of automatically. It'll switch things on automatically. I prefer to do it manually. So go to PTO transformations, and we do have dense jungle, sorry, in this scenario because light jungle was not called out. So let's click dense jungle. We do have bamboo. It won't change the brush graphic. It should look the same. Palm trees will change, and use swamp pattern for marsh adjacent to jungle. So let's click that on. Now we may have to go in and do the roads to paths manually. So let's click those 4 on and hit apply and see what happens. I don't think it's going to automatically do the roads to paths. So let's hit apply. Actually, let me hit apply with this window out of the way to see if it updates these previews here. So hit apply. It did update a bunch of stuff. Let's hit done, hit OK, and it should update the actual playing area behind us. Yep, it did. So it did update all the orchards to PTO palm trees. It updated if you look at the jungles, it's much more dense. The actual jungle outline goes pretty much to the hex edges as a reminder to the player that dense jungle is inherent terrain as opposed to light jungle, which acts pretty much like forest. And then it did put in some swamps here that were adjacent to the jungle here and there in a few places. Now we need to transform the last transformation for PTO. We need to get rid of any roads, and there'll be paths going through any forests. So let's go back to that. Pick new boards. Train SSR. It puts it up in the corner again. I don't like that. Now let's see. Go to roads. Um, no roads, and we want woods roads to be paths. Now, again, if we clicked and picked PTO lighter dense jungle, I think it would have done some of this for us automatically. But I like to do it. I like to do it manually to make sure I'm picking everything right and that it gets done. So we're transforming roads. Generally no roads, but if the roads are woods roads, run through jungle, we want them to be paths. So let's hit apply. Looks like it worked. Hit done and then hit OK. And there you go. It's updated. All the roads that were running through here have become paths, and all the paths that existed are still there. So for this scenario, the Eastern Gate, the example scenario I've been working on, we've done all the transformations that we need to do to actually almost be ready to play on this. There are a few maintenance things we need to do, such as setting up the turn marker table and adding some other info, and then to pull our order of battle. And we'll cover that in the next lessons. But for the following 3 or 4 lessons, I show you how to pick the boards, orient them, crop the boards, place all the overlays, and now transform your boards into PTO. Let's do a little more experimenting with terrain transformation while we have this open. But first, let's save this so we can work on it later. Continue working on this. Now let's just play around with terrain transformations. Let's see what other interesting things we can do. Open this up. Let's look at buildings. So you can turn all buildings to wood or stone. Same with row houses. You can actually get rid of row houses and make them open ground. Get rid of stairwells. Weather, you can winterize a board. Let's do that. Even though this is PTO, we're just experimenting. So let's just say there's ground snow, and you hit apply, and just like that, you're playing on snow in the jungle. Obviously, you'd only do this in, say, a European theater of operations scenario, but it adds a nice aesthetic if you're playing a scenario that takes place during the winter. With just a couple clicks, you can transform your boards into a winter look. Let's see what else we have. Let's see, roads. We kind of covered roads. So roads, you can make them all paved, all dirt, get rid of them. Or you can make them paths, or you can fill in. Let's do that. Let's fill in all roads with woods. I don't know if this will work because we've changed the woods to paths. I don't know if they're still considered roads, but let's see what happens when we hit apply. See if it fills these in with woods. No, it didn't. It must have, when we converted them to paths, it must have remembered they were paths. So if those were still roads, it should have filled in all these hexes with woods. Water level, you can do dry, flooded. You can change streams to gullies. can change rivers to valleys or flooded, rice paddies in season or irrigated. You can make walls are, I haven't messed with any of these. Can change walls to hedges. You can probably change hedges to walls, etc. Hills, normal. You can change hill levels. You can get rid of all hills on a board. Again, I don't think this will work because these hills are on an overlay. It might get rid of this hill over here, but I'm not sure it can transform terrain that is on an overlay placed on a board. Let me try it. Let me just do no hills. Hit apply. Oh, it worked. Done. Okay. So there, we got rid of all the hills. Let's just look at a couple more things here. Swapping orchards, shell holes, and crags. You can swap their look. There's the PTO transformations we just did. Desert terrain transformations. There's some other ones here as well. This is like a wholesale transformation. So you can say all woods are, oh, this will look weird. Let's turn all woods into grain. See if this works. It did nothing, or it's taking a minute. I don't think it's going to do anything. I've never messed with that before. So some of these transformations, depending on what you do, may not work. In general, almost all of them work. And then there's a couple special overlays for certain boards that are built in. So the most handy ones I've found are winterizing a board, which is cool, and then PTO transformation. Some of these other ones, like getting rid of all roads or all hills, they're going to be fairly specialized. They may not be used a lot, but I just wanted to show you that with this terrain transformation tool, you can really customize your board layouts or adapt them to any special scenario rules or to any theater or even any season. One more thing to note, if this would have had orchards on it, actually it did get rid of them. It got rid of all the palm trees because they're automatically out of season. If they would have stayed orchards, if I went to transform them into palm trees, I think it would have put icons that look like um, trees without leaves on them, out of season orchards. Because I've used those boards before, but in this case, it got rid of all the orchards when I winterized these boards. So don't save this version. We'll use the one we saved before we started messing around with terrain transformations. So that's it for this lesson. The next one, lesson 7, is going to go into navigating the menu, how to do things like put your roll bar over here and have rolls show up on the side, and all the menu picks and what they mean, as well as how to find special informational overlays. And we'll cover that in lesson 7. So I'll see you next time, and roll low.